everyone, welcome to Power to the Flower. I'm back, yay! I've been on vacation, summer schedule's been super crazy. It's been difficult to get these YouTube videos out. I'm so sorry about that. But with time and patience comes amazingness. So I'm really excited about this video that I'm sharing with you today, which is on how to care for your Supertunias or your Petunia hybrids. I've taken some video over the last 30 days to show you how to trim and when to trim and where to be scared and where to have confidence in your Supertunias to bring on their best production so that they are just the showiest and bloomiest and the prettiest that you can get, because that's what I'm about here, flower power. So if you like this video and it's helpful for you, I'd love it if you could let me know by liking it as well as subscribing to this channel, perhaps sharing this channel with other like-minded gardeners who are learning along with me how plants react to the different challenges in our environment. So for us here in Walnut Creek, California, we had some heat waves, one in June and then another one in July, where it just kind of went from like 70 degrees Fahrenheit to 100 degrees Fahrenheit, and the plants just charred. And so I have some video of what these two pots looked like right after that. Let me show you. So post heat wave, this is how the wash bin is looking. You can see this Supertunia has something eating on it, but also it's just not looking amazing with all of those kind of dead blooms in there. So we have that. Here's the geranium. It's almost entirely covered with a couple blooms, but a lot of dead business. So as you can see, everything was kind of crispy, and I wasn't exactly sure what the best method to prune and take care of the Supertunias would be. So in this pot, I just left everything. I still haven't touched it. It's just exactly how it's been since planting. In this pot, I trimmed it. Let me just take a minute to walk through the process of the two containers, and what you will see will help you maybe make some decisions for yourself about how to take care of your Supertunias. Definitely helped me. I'd like to take you back in time 1 month to June 6th, 2021. These wash bins had been potted up on March 22nd, so about 6 weeks previous to the filming of this little clip, and they were looking fabulous. 5 plants in each wash bin. Supertunia fuchsia, you can see there, and then I also had put in 1 red petunia to compare so that you can get a good idea of a petunia versus a Supertunia. The petunia is much smaller, still beautiful, but doesn't have quite the same impact as your Supertunia, which is mounded, full of blooms, and up to this point hadn't had any trimming done to it. Fast forward 2 weeks, and we've had this 100 degree Fahrenheit heat wave. Now the Supertunias are not looking their very best any longer. The question is what to do, leave them or cut them. So I went ahead with the bin on the left side and trimmed off the entire thing, bottom to top, into a nice rounded mound. Next question, how much should I trim off and where should I trim? The great thing about Supertunias is that it really doesn't matter. You can trim the entire plant all the way back to the soil level. I sometimes do that, leaving an inch, especially if the plant is quite brown on the leaves. It will grow back. These plants are amazing. This is true for petunias as well. In fact, let me pause here and show you another Supertunia trim job. Here we have Supertunia Vista Bubblegum, and as you can see, the foliage is what we call leggy. It's grown quite long, and blooms are just at the very tips of each of the foliage legs. And so I am going to cut this back all the way to the soil level, and then let me show you what happens within a couple weeks. Ta-da! The plant puts its energy into blooming. So here we are, back to our wash bins. At the end of June 22nd, we have a flowerless but tidy Supertunia fuchsia on the left and a crazy wild but still with blooms Supertunia fuchsia on the right. All right, so it's been 1 week and we have no action here. Everything looks exactly the same. Let's check out this one. You can see that the cafe latte is kind of going crazy down here. So it's getting a bit leggy. I'm just gonna cut this off and tidy this up. Anywhere you cut is fine. it's kind of like jelly. It just bounces back into a nice spot no matter what. See, just kind of bounces back in. I left this untrimmed after the first heat wave, so you can see all of the kind of old and spent flowers on this one. So we're comparing this one to that one to see how it goes. To deadhead geraniums, you bring your cut down to the stem. Or in this case, anywhere in the foliage. I'm gonna leave the rest. And then now what I think the main thing that this plant needs, these pots, is some fertilizer, some bloom fertilizer. Now, a full 16 days from trim day, we have blooms on both pots. Right pot is looking bloomy but spacious with its blooms. Left pot, in my opinion, is looking marvelous. I think because we have trimmed off all the legginess, it enabled the plant to bloom in a nice mounded way. Which brings us to this week's video, 4 weeks since the prune job, and you can see clearly what's going on. We have the right pot, which has lots of bloom, but also you can see a lot of the dead in there, and it's just not as tidy, but still good, but just not as tidy as the left side pot. The left side pot is full of bloom, covered with blooms, as you can see, and it also has just stayed in a tidy little ball, which I really, really enjoy. For me, this was a really helpful experiment to be confident in pruning my Supertunias and also in just demonstrating the difference between a pruned Supertunia and a natural Supertunia. Both excellent, but maybe one I might prefer over another. If I have time for pruning, I'm gonna do that. If I don't, I'm gonna be confident that it's still going to carry on blooming and being beautiful. So I hope that was helpful for you in terms of thinking about how to care for your Supertunias and kind of what to expect with pruning or non-pruning, and just how easy it actually is to keep these plants going and going and going. What I learned from this experiment was that I want to do my weekly bloom fertilizer, and I also want to prune them up in the middle of summer at least once to take out that legginess and bring those blooms to their maximum potential. I love these plants. I use them all over my garden, and I would love to hear how you are using your Supertunias, containers, landscape. What are you doing? You can communicate with me here on my YouTube channel or catch me during the week on Instagram or Facebook. Thanks so much for being here, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.